Hello and welcome to the Barrel Buddies. I'm James.
I'm Zach.
And I'm BJ. Welcome back to your whiskey, wine, weekly bourbon, and all things barrel-aged podcast live here every Whiskey Wednesday. And joining us tonight is a very special guest. You've heard us talk about him before. The one, the only AG of Toehold Flip Flops.
How's it going?
What's up, AG?
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad that you're here with us. We're real excited. There are going to be a lot of people who I'm sure are going to have a lot of questions about what you do, who you are, why you're here. And we're going to answer all of those and more while we introduce the world to an amazing bourbon whiskey. You've had this one before with us folks, but maybe not this iteration. Jimmy, what are we drinking?
Okay, so I've been talking about this for a while, at least in our circles. I don't think I've brought it up on the show because I'll tell you why I haven't brought it up on the show in just a moment.
Tell us why. Wait, why the anticipation?
First of all, unfortunately, the amazing beverage we're going to have tonight does not distro to Nevada.
Oh, that's a shame. I don't even want to get into the distribution in Nevada
Can
things.
you in post, can you add like a boo like in the background?
No, because we don't edit live shows in post.
Oh, we don't edit in post. That's a first.
No, we edit things in post, but not live shows in post.
Okay.
And it's because we're changing some formats. You know this.
All right. I just want to throw you for a loop. Okay, anyway, Blue Note, BR Distilling.
I thought you were going to say BR Guest.
BR Guest. Anyway, BR Distilling out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Where do they distribute to?
That's a great question, Zach, and we will get to that. But I'm going to tell you right now, they basically do not distribute on the West Coast.
It's all throughout the South.
It's pretty much the whole South, and then random parts of New York and Mass, and I don't know, Delaware or something. Anyway, Uncle Punky, welcome, and Redbeard, welcome to the show.
Redbeard, welcome back.
How's
Uncle Punky? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
How's that job?
So anyway, Blue Note,
Give that
Blue
to you
Note
in
out
advance.
of.
Memphis,
Hey, Bradley,
Tennessee.
how's it going, bud? He's like, Blue Note doesn't come to Nevada. Yeah, I know. We're all booing that, too.
Is that Brad in stereo?
Yeah, it is.
What's up, Brad?
So anyway, we wanted to start the Blue Note series because I'm going to tell you guys, I've had some blind tastings the past couple months. I've had some requests for this the past couple of months. And I think Blue Note right now is flying under the radar. It's amazing. If you guys are able to get it, I want you guys to go try it.
Yeah.
Patrick Curry, how you doing? Here's our infamous...
Hide your eyes.
Because the
Oh,
way
looks
we're
good.
looking good.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, what a great bottle. Look at that. We got the guy jamming there.
It's a crossroads.
At the Crossroads. Hey, do you remember that movie? Does anybody...
Crossroads.
Hold on. No. I'm going to go further back than that. The Crossroads movie with Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai.
No, I don't think anybody saw that movie. Did you
No,
see this movie, AG? Do you know what we're talking about?
That's
Ralph
my
Macchio?
cinephile coming in.
No.
Yeah, no.
Zach, I'm
Nobody
gonna
saw
need you
this
to do
movie.
a little before you
He's only
sit.
been in one movie.
We're not getting in focus.
The Karate Kid, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's Ralph Macchio was in one movie.
No, we don't need the bottle reveal. We need the focus, please.
No, we're in focus. We were in focus.
No, we were not.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah? Got it.
There we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. You're
Oh,
good. We're good.
yeah.
Well,
I got it.
now we're good, Zach. Now we're good.
Thank
okay.
you, Zach.
Anyway, we digress. So back to BR Distilling. So they have two kinds of products they offer right now. They have a Blue Note whiskey bourbon or whiskey, American whiskey, and they have a Riverset rye. And there's variants within those brands. So right now we're starting with the whiskey. And Beej, why don't you tell us what yeah, we got no cover. See, we got some Steve Vai recognition in the chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's your plant.
I know that's a stretch, right? It's my plant just to come in here
It's a
and
plant.
Anyway, Beej, why don't you tell us some info on the bottle if you don't mind?
I would
The
love
stats.
to. So this is the Blue Note Crossroads straight bourbon whiskey, finished in my favorite, toasted French oak. Remember, a true bourbon in America.
American oak.
No,
barrels.
made in America.
Yes,
51% corn.
at least.
And in brand new, traditionally American oak whiskeys. Or American oak barrels. Thank you. My cooperage is all off tonight. But this is crafted in Memphis. It is 60% corn. And this is in toasted French oak. I love French oak because I think French oak is typically sweet, smooth, and it's got a quick bite at the end. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay.
And then on the bottle here, you want to know more about BR Distilling. It says This unique expression combines the unmistakable boldness of Blue Note bourbon with the sophistication of the finest toasted French oak curated from an artisan cooperage in the Centreval de Lorraine. Taste in every sip the unforgettable intersection of notes that embody the inherent spirit of the blues.
Wow.
The sound and movement of the blues were meant to break the rules. And this is Blue Note's Crossroad.
Digging it.
What would you say the difference is between toasted and charred?
Ooh,
I think there's a
huge difference.
Why?
So Zach, I think you bring up a really good point about barrel charring. So we've talked about this many shows ago. There are
Elijah
levels.
Craig toasted, right?
Exactly. There are levels of, and it's an industry standard of a char level on a barrel, and traditionally it's like 1 through 4 is how heavy they char the barrel. And I'm sure there's some equation on how many seconds they, keep that flame going in the barrel, but a level 4 char is traditional among all barrel aged whiskeys and bourbons. So unfortunately I don't know what this is, but
it's toasted, which means it's going to be heavy.
Ooh,
yeah.
Toasted is heavy.
You sure you think that? I think it might be a little light. You think it's not? It's not.
No.
Toasted
Remember,
means over standard. You
yes,
think?
it is over standard, and here's how we know this: Basil Hayden's toast,
Yes,
is even marketed as an over toasted barrel. Elijah Craig toasted barrel is an overcharred barrel.
I asked that for the audience, not for my knowledge.
Oh, well, I'm just getting into it now.
I'm
and
joking.
Toast, you get
And I was like, how do you not know this, Jimmy?
I remember Elijah Craig toasted, and that was a very peppery freaking whiskey.
Not good.
Yeah, so that took a lot
this
of
smells
the
like
char and went straight into the
frosting. This smells like Betty Crocker vanilla frosting.
Oh yeah, it's super sweet. Very vanilla, very light.
Really quick, no cover. Ralph Macchio does not play the guitar like that. Steve Vai, they show his hands while they're videotaping Ralph Macchio's face during that moment.
What movie is that?
Wow.
It's called Crossroads.
I've never seen it before.
Well, Ralph
What
Macchio.
was the year?
Then I'm guessing it is
80s.
Ralph Macchio on the front of this bottle.
I please BR Distilling. If you guys are watching and you're
It's
like,
ridiculous.
Crossroads was an ode to the movie, and that is a frontal back.
I think we just
of Ralph
won a free
Macchio
bottle.
with
They're
his
like,
guitar.
you guys win it. You guys got it.
win.
You got
It's
it.
a golden ticket, right?
You guys figured it out. It was like this weird thing that we did.
Whiskey
Jesus.
Mysteries.
So Uncle Punky says the color looks light. What do you think?
I actually think the color is burnished copper. It's dark. I mean, it's traditionally darker than some of the other stuff we've been drinking. It's almost like a red ale.
I'm gonna say it's golden. It's not a red ale.
Oh, we're super nerds.
But it's a golden, a very nice golden burnished copper. I do like that. Ooh.
Well, let's get into this.
Boy, oh boy.
Cheers.
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 Cheers over
Cheers
there,
it up.
gents. After you take this first
We've
sip,
talked enough. Let's get into drinking it.
Yeah.
Dude, I am definitely tasting that toasty. But that's a good thing. I'm enjoying it.
So as you all know, 3-sip rule, which we're going to go over since we have a guest on the show.
And we got
First
to
sip.
give you the ruling here.
Yeah. First sip is always the shock to your palate. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you just pour a bottle of whiskey, you should always, or bottle of anything, you should always ignore the first taste, because that is the shock to your palate, shock to the senses, and your body is like, what did you do? You basically just put poison in me. I'm going to react in a bad way. Second taste, second sip, second shot. Whoa, this is what it tastes like. My body is now getting used to this, because it's like, bam, shock to the senses and palate is over with. Now you're sort of getting used to things.
The flavors
And then
develop.
the flavors develop. It's having some time to kind of linger around in your mouth. And then bam, third sip, third shot. Wow, I'm ready to go. This is what it tastes like. This is what it is. My palate's used to it. I'm getting all this complexity over the previous sips I've had. That's what it truly tastes like by the third sip. Traditional.
I'd even say like you got the front of the palate, like right. You got the sting.
Yeah.
By the second, you're going back to the middle of the palate, where things are really starting to acknowledge, and then just like on that third sip, back of the palate, everything's coated. You're not you got it all over your mouth.
Yep.
I like to swish. on that third sip.
You're the Swisher.
Also known as the Kentucky Chew.
Oh, the Kentucky Chew.
Yeah.
For those of you keeping score, the Kentucky Chew. I like the Kentucky Chew in the third one, especially if it's not too hot, right? Because I think there you can really bring in some of the barrel characteristics. And I gotta just being honest.
100 proof, 50% friends. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned that.
We did not mention that.
Yeah, 100 proof, 50%.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't bring that up yet.
alcohol.
We're getting asked what the hell here.
Yeah, the norm is 90 proof. You know, for bourbon, but,
80 to 90.
80 to 90.
But the 100, gives it a little bit of a kick.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So, AG, we've talked a lot. We've introduced. This is kind of the normal thing. So now I'm interested. We're going to kick back. We're going to really get into this. And I really want to get, we invited you here for a reason. We want to get to know you a little bit more and obviously introduce you to some quality whiskey tonight. But we want to get to know a little bit about what your first impressions are here.
So, zero whiskey, bourbon background whatsoever.
Okay,
Zero.
that's great. A lot of our watchers are in the same boat.
I'm really just listening to you guys and learning as you're talking, just almost as a guest. And what I'm realizing is you can try so many other alcohols and they taste fine, and immediately you understand them. After trying this, I could tell how complex the whiskey, bourbon, maybe Scotch, maybe fall in that same category, would it? Like that whole realm is like a refined category. It's not something you almost like cigars.
Sure.
You guys
absolutely.
jump in and there's
AG,
so much
that's
complexity to it.
a great
where
example.
Anybody can smoke a Marlboro and they get it, right? They get it.
Sure.
You get it right away.
It's
You drink some
straightforward.
tequila, you got it. You understood it. A little bit of difference. This is complex. There's a lot going on here. It's really good. It's strong, which I like.
You get that 100 proof, yeah.
Drinking at room temperature is a whole different experience from how you'd normally have alcohol.
Sure, yeah.
It's really good. It might be something that I'm going to have to start dabbling down the road on.
You're always
That's
welcome
why.
here.
That's why
And
we
an-
bring people on the show.
And an incredibly impressive collection you guys have.
Thank you very much. First one's always free, as they say. I think AG brings up a good point too about that heat with 100 proof. This is especially if for our friends out there too. You're introducing somebody to like whiskeys and bourbons. You really don't want to go over that 100 proof because at 50% ABV, 50% alcohol, it's getting a little hot. Even I notice it, and us for being like seasoned, whiskey, whatevers. It's got a little heat to it. It's got some punch, packs a kick.
It's like the right amount, though.
It is. I think that 100 is very level set, and that's what
For me, I actually
I'm
like
with
this
ya.
50%.
I'm with you.
So, AG, I got to ask, on your first couple of sips, did you notice a lot of warmth in your chest? A lot of warming sensation?
Extreme. The tongue, the throat, the chest, the nasal cavity, maxillary sinuses, all of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's you got to experience something we call a Kentucky hug.
Absolutely.
So you got the Kentucky hug.
Kentucky
from this
hug.
whiskey. It loves you.
Well, one thing you brought up was this is the first time, or one of the first times you've had it neat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nice, yeah.
Drinking whiskey neat isn't most people like that aren't whiskey aficionados, fans, whatever, like to cool down the whiskey, have it on the rocks because it's too much of a shock to your palate.
Right.
It's too intense. But yeah, once you have it neat, you really get into the flavors of it.
I think the 3-drink rule, what was the rule?
3-sip rule.
3-sip rule. It really sets a standard because
good.
if you just handed this to me and I tried it, I'd be like, not for me.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm good.
The second one, it's like,
Exactly.
For the third one, it's like, maybe I could have a little bit.
Exactly. And that's what we
So
try to tell all of our friends out there.
Maybe that's where a lot of people get steered away from bourbons.
Yeah.
Is they're given one sip and they're turned away.
Oh, they're revolted
yeah.
by it
Well,
because
that's the
it's
shot. That's basically the shot. You go, oh my god.
your
that
body's
was
like,
Yeah.
all right, here's some poison.
one thing that we discovered, which was pleasantly surprising, was wild turkey. We brought that on the show.
Wild Turkey 101.
Wild Turkey 101. Yeah, And so
Very
this
close ABV.
And so this is the whiskey that back in college, high school, whatever. You drink it and you go, oh my god, that was wild turkey. It blew you away, alcohol wise, right? But once we actually got into tasting this and smelling it and understanding it, Wild Turkey 101 is really good. It's a great whiskey.
Yeah, it gets a lot of crap for being a cheap and accessible something that you'd steal
Sure
from your
does.
dad's cabinet.
Well, that's what I say about Evan Williams. They get so much grief as like the bum bourbon or whatever.
Because it's so
And
cheap,
maybe
but
it's
it's so
not getting
good.
exposed to it. It's at a college frat house. You're chugging it upside down, and next thing you know,
It's a wild night when you have wild turkey in
Yeah,
the,
next thing
on
you
the
know.
table.
It's wild, getting wild with wild. Exactly.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about on the show. I feel like we've alluded to it a lot, but like, especially with whiskeys and bourbons, I feel like the bell curve, the exterior is really shallow and it's really long as far as
Absolutely.
really terrible cheap whiskeys
Yep.
and really terrible expensive whiskeys, and right in the middle, it's like a really steep grade of really good
Yeah.
quality whiskeys. And I think, to add to your point, there's a lot of whiskey that I think people try to adapt you to, where they're like, oh, you need to try this. It's so expensive, and everybody says it's so good.
Blue Label.
And it's so
Blue Label.
far on that not good scale that you're like, this is terrible. Why would I drink this? This is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
God, what does everything below
Well,
it taste like?
so-
you never
probably
want to get
for
into
a
it.
refined palate for somebody who is educated in how it should taste.
Not true, because
Not true.
Jimmy brings up a good point, and we have shit on it so often, and that is Blue Label. So Johnny Walker Blue
Johnny
Label.
Walker Blue Label.
Probably familiar. You've heard of it.
Yeah.
$2.50 a bottle right now. It's
Very
insanity.
expensive. And it's known as la creme de la creme of
whiskeys.
Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
We don't like it. It's over mixed, and it's mixed for a certain palate. It's mixed for a person who has a lot of money and who may not actually know what they're drinking.
It's like Macallan 18. It's just like that generic gift for weddings,
I disagree. I actually
birthdays.
think Macallan 18 is really good.
Newer Mac 18? No. Older
Old
Mac
18,
yes.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you there.
There we go.
I haven't had new 18 because it's too expensive, but old 18,
Yeah.
very good.
So one thing I wanted to mention, since we have a new guest with us, is also remember, your palate and things you taste are learned. It's not like you're automatically going to taste something and know what it tastes like. And I tell that to our viewers all the time. So we, as experienced heavy-duty drinkers, talk to you guys about the different flavors and smells and what we get in something.
That doesn't mean we have a problem.
A, that doesn't mean we have a problem. Yes, it does. B, we have experienced that with other people, and you're like, okay, you're tasting this. It's going to taste like, vanilla buttercream, pink pepper, black pepper, whatever. This tastes like the sea. It's got a peaty taste to it. Or this tastes like a liquid campfire.
Salty.
Peaty scotches, salty, etc.
No,
So your palate, you're told things, and then it learns. So the next time you have it, you're like, oh, hold up. This tastes like that one campfire whiskey we had a couple months ago. Your palate is always learning, always evolving. That's all I wanted to say. It's on top of your senses, right? Because you're just getting the five senses, and this is the next level.
Awesome.
There you
All
go.
right, I'm going to transition a little bit
Please
here
do.
out of whiskey because we're going to come back to it.
Really quick, hold on. We got some
we got
chat.
some chat.
2
Ooh.
seconds.
Come on.
2 seconds to try to get through. No Cover says he's be careful when mixing red wine and whiskey. Careful, bud. You should rinse that out. Patrick Curry says, is this juice sourced through Dickel? I don't think so. I will follow up with that, but I get zero Dickel and no Flintstone vitamins, no traditional Dickel taste.
It's a good question, right? Because it's coming out of Memphis. It's a Tennessee whiskey, but
Yeah.
it doesn't drink like a Tennessee whiskey, Patrick.
Redbeard says the current Blue Label Year of the Tiger blend is 46% ABV. Should be more tasty. I would agree with you there, absolutely. And then Brad says Pappy 23, 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Yeah, that's a great example too, right? We talk about Blue Label, but yeah,
Well, there you
Pappy
go,
23, you're just basically want to sip.
All aboard the
think
hype
of if
train,
you took a
everybody.
saddle or a leather boot and you just kind of sucked on that leather.
But they
That's-
got like the worst fake flavor of caramel corn.
Yeah, and you could just get that leathery. Ugh, it's not good.
What does Dickel mean?
So Dickel is a distillery. That's a great question. It's a great question. It unfortunately has an infamous reputation for having a taste of Flintstone's vitamins.
Specifically the orange Flintstone vitamin.
Yes.
That's super
And-
But
specific.
But
you know exactly
You
what
know
it
what it
tastes
tastes
like.
like, I'm sure.
Right? The moment we say that, you're like, I know exactly what my childhood
Do we,
tastes like.
do we have any Dickel here?
I don't. Not a good example of
Not the
that.
Flintstone
But we
vitamin.
will.
Yeah. So yeah, you start to like learn, like we'll make references where it's like, oh, you know what this tastes like, blah, blah, blah. Wait, Jack Daniels? Jack Daniels tastes like banana runs.
Banana
I've said
runs.
that to you now, and you will never not think of
Banana
banana
runs.
runs.
Think of it next time you have
next
Jack.
time you get a poor Jack,
Think of banana.
Before they do anything to it, just
Banana
be like,
bread.
when we get that, and put your nose into it, you're going to go,
Holy
Yeah, drinking
shit.
it neat is a completely different experience with Jack.
In fact,
Yeah.
before we go, make sure you pull out Nuclear Nanner. So Jack Daniels knows it too.
Yeah,
They know it so
They know
much
it. Their flavor
that they
profile.
crafted a bottle called Nuclear Nanner.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, AG,
Yes.
we wanted to have you on because we talk about something that you do fairly often with our fans.
Yep.
Appreciate
And,
that.
We brought him up a couple times.
We want to talk about and want you to talk a little bit about what you do, which I super admire. I'm a customer of yours. I actually love what you do, and I follow it a lot. We want to talk about toe hold flip flops. So tell us a little bit about what you do with them.
What is
Who
more
are they?
symbiotic than leather and whiskey?
I'm telling you. Hello.
I mean,
That's
There
true.
are whiskeys that
That's
taste
true.
like
throw
leather.
wood in there,
Absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
a gun, right?
A lot of our viewers, I think, are by the beach. They've mentioned this before. So if you are living by a body of water, let us know.
That's
very
very specific. Flip flops are for everywhere.
That's right. I
So-
live in my
I think
flip
just the
flops.
beach.
except for
That's
when I'm
maybe
at work.
just, you know.
Speaking of the beach, I grew up in San Diego, born and
Okay.
raised on the beach, right in Oceanside, Carlsbad area.
Awesome.
Literally
Very
grew
nice.
up on the beach. We ate burritos and wore flip flops everywhere. I didn't think I realized that burritos were from Mexico until I was a teenager. I just thought that was American food.
I mean,
Yes,
San
San
Diego
Diego
is basically
food.
a suburb
we
of
would
Tijuana.
we'd
so-
go down to Mexico and I'd be like, oh cool, these guys eat burritos too. I had no idea, right?
Okay.
And then I would, go inland, meaning like Nevada. I'd go to Colorado, and I'd be like, weird, there's no Mexicans here. No one's wearing flip-flops. I just didn't get it, right? I didn't get it at all. Even to this day, it's February, March?
Yeah.
Shorts,
March.
flip-flops. I pretty much wear that everywhere.
Nice.
So years ago, like 2010, I was on a hike, and my flip-flops broke on me. The thong, the centerpiece pulled out.
I hate it.
And I was maybe 4 miles from camp, way back there. And there's no way to kind of jury rig them to get them back on. Like there's keep pulling out. So I wound up tying some 550 cord. Military guys will know it as like paracord or
Yeah.
550. And between my toes, it just kind of hobbled back to camp. And it sawed between my toes, pretty bloody, but I got back. And luckily, the ground was pretty rough. In the mountain, there's pine cones, things like that. But if that would happen in the desert, like where we live here, you literally get stranded. You can't do anything.
Hold
Or
on.
the
And
ground-
can I tell you how many shitty flip flops I've had that have had that exact same problem happen? Like
Yeah, they all do.
They all do that.
They're all Chinese made. And even
Exactly.
the American made ones, the way they produce them is they take the thong and they'll split the cord and they'll bind them in between the layers. And they work fine and they're really strong until the day that they need to wear out. And then they just suddenly break. So being a guy that wears flip-flops everywhere, I hunt in flip-flops, I wear them in the snow, I wear flip-flops literally everywhere. I wanted to make a pair that were virtually indestructible. And at that time, I was a military contractor. I was over in Japan. And deep in the jungle, I came across this leather worker in a hut. And he was making like little wallets or coin purses. And I hit him up about making me a pair. I had the idea of what I wanted, but I didn't know anything about leather. So long story longer, I hired him to make me a pair. Loved them. They worked great. I wanted some tweaks, so I went back a second time, made some tweaks. Came back to the States. Several years later, they wore out. And then I hit up a bunch of leather workers about making me a new pair. Nobody knew how to do it. Like they could do the leather part, they didn't understand the cobbler part, they didn't understand the tread, they didn't understand the shaping of them. So probably about 5 years after that, I decided to do it myself. Like just try it. Didn't know anything about leather, I knew there's leather like you see on a saddle. I knew there's leather you see like in a Ferrari. There's leather you see on a couch, a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference between any of them. So I went into a store, asked them like, I want to buy some leather, which one's which? Bought some stuff and spent like $16,000 of trial and error, just wasting, completely burning money, trying to make one pair of flip-flops for myself.
Wow.
And then my buddy was like, those are sick. Can you make me a pair? And I was like, yeah, on the weekend I'll make you a pair. I was a manager at Apple at the time. And then another buddy asked for a pair, and then I was, that kept going on until on my weekends I'd just be making flip-flops. And they sucked. They were brand new, they sucked. And then they progressively gotten better and better. And I'm probably 5% autistic in the sense that when I get focused on something, I just relentlessly don't stop.
Okay.
And 5 years later, we have a really big company as far as its reach, as far as about who knows about it. It's small in the sense that it's done in a 3-car garage here in Vegas. But the flip-flops are super strong.
Wait, you make them here in town?
In Vegas.
Oh, that's
In his garage.
That's so
Handmade.
cool.
In his garage.
Handmade. We have everywhere from just normal people like me wearing them to really famous people to ultra athletes to moms.
Can you like
dads.
throw a name out there, like name drop? Just be
Ben
like, hey,
Askren, Joe Rogan has 2 pairs. Brian Callen has 2 pairs.
I just noticed him on your Insta feed and was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Donald Trump Jr. has a pair.
That's so cool.
So and there's people, and those are people names meaning other people will recognize them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
some of like our most important customers are people that nobody knows, like a guy named Dan Hart, right? Buddy
Okay.
of mine. He not only buys a unhealthy amount of flip-flops, so does all his like jiu-jitsu students and his family and friends. So the amount of support we get is huge.
Sure.
Is huge. And really what we wanted to make was an indestructible flip-flop. Never wanted to create a business, but having worked at Apple and having that strong background in business and knowing how to run a company and having super good customer service, it's just accidentally turned us into a pretty big company.
You guys are huge, and your organic growth. I've watched you since I think the beginning, just about the beginning. You were really getting going, and I remember when you started doing the business thing. And what I've seen, I mean, you guys have blown up. You have blown up, and it's been awesome to watch.
Thank you.
And I remember I got a pair pretty early on, and I wear the absolute fuck out of these flip-flops. And they don't look that different from the day I got them, to be honest.
Is it the wildebeest ones?
No, I have African elephant.
Yeah.
I have
Wow.
African gray
Very
elephant. Look, ethically sourced,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Ethically sourced.
So with the ethically sourced stuff, we got approached by a South African lady that's seen our product online, just coincidentally, as things happen online.
So, really quick, don't mean to interrupt there, AG, but someone's asking, are they indestructible?
No.
Okay.
But they're durable. So there's
all
two
right.
things that'll destroy our flip-flops, right? One of them is dogs.
Fair. That's fair.
It's honestly probably a little bit less than a quarter get destroyed by people's pets because they smell the real leather and they'll chew them up. And your dog could never have chewed anything in its
good
whole life.
point.
It'll chew up our flip-flops.
Good point.
The second is lazy foot draggers. If you drag your feet on the ground, if you skid your tires, if you slide your brakes, if you burn out, you're going to
wear
burn through
out.
car tires.
Yep.
You're going to burn through flip-flops the same way if you drag your feet.
That's fair.
The leather won't break. The flip-flop won't leave you stranded. The
Wears
thong will
down.
never pull through. We've shot them with machine guns, 9mm. We've set them on fire. Wow. So they can get damaged, but you'll still get back to camp. You'll still get home with them.
That's cool. That's cool.
But as far as ethically sourced, that's an important part.
Yeah.
Because the first time I posted a picture about a pair of elephant flip-flops, people lost their mind.
I
So
bet.
there's
I
zero
can only
money
imagine.
in going out and killing an elephant for its skin.
Right.
So the way these parks work, and it's really a shame, and you got to just remember Africa's Africa. So these parks are super underfunded. Everybody wants to save the animals, but nobody cuts a check, right?
Sure.
We cut a check. We cut a check every month, and it's a big check. And what that check is for is the park rangers will go out and they'll find old animals that need to be euthanized because they're sick, injured. Maybe a lion tried killing them that it didn't succeed and they have a horrible infection, right? So they try to do what we do with our pets. We humanely euthanize them when they're at the end of their life. And for elephants, it's really important because they're herd animals and suffering causes stress amongst the others. And the parks are really big on maintaining a healthy herd. So they'll bring in a veterinarian. They'll fly him or her to some remote part of Zimbabwe. They'll find the animal. They'll euthanize it, and that costs an immense amount of money to do.
Sure.
So they recoup that money by one is they'll take the bones. They sell them to scientists and museums. I think with the bones they use them in like woolly mammoth exhibits to kind of make up where they're missing fossils.
That makes sense.
And then we'll buy some of the hide, and some other buyers will buy the hide, and the government takes control of the hide. So a poacher can't bring the hide to the tannery. It has to be the government, and it's meticulously tracked. Money in turn goes back to the park to help fund to pay the veterinarian fees, anti-poaching, things like that. And then as long as the meat's not damaged, they'll give the meat to the villagers. So they try to do it in a real ethical way.
That's cool.
That's nice. Where we get those exotics. That's where we're getting from.
I got a question for you here in the chat. How do they hold up in water for canoeing? Wet footing is a big thing when canoeing.
Yeah. So leather's good in water. What leather will do, though, is it helps shape leather. So, for example, if your feet are wet and you pull on the straps, it'll stretch them. The same way a pair of work gloves will stretch if they're wet, and so on. I take mine, these pair that I have on here, this is our test pair. These have been submerged in a harbor for 2 weeks in salt water. They've been worn around the world. These are about a year and a half old. And you can tell the leather on them, even though it's darkened, is virtually indestructible. The straps over time could be replaced, and the tread on the bottom eventually could be sanded off and replaced, thus recycling the leather and keeping them in service. And then something else we do that's kind of cool, and I got a pair here, is we'll take old Louis Vuitton bags. I had a buddy who had a big garment bag.
We're going to show you this. This is a really cool
We're going to
thing.
need Zach to do another Vanna White. This is going to be his first shoe. He'll be our flip-flop.
Oh, wow.
So a big misconception is that when you see a Louis Vuitton bag and you see the side of it, like usually it's brown, that monogram where you see the Louis Vuitton logo, that's leather. That's not leather. That's a rubber-infused canvas that is extremely durable, super strong, virtually indestructible. The edging is leather. It's a very nice vegetable tan leather around the skirting.
Okay.
So one of my buddies brought me a Louis Vuitton bag thinking it was leather and said, "Hey, this is leather. Can you make me a pair of flip-flops out of it?" And I had to tell him that that's not leather, but we still might be able to make you a pair of flip-flops from it. So we cut up this bag that was old, tore up. His wife wanted to throw it in the trash. And we made a pair of flip-flops, and we realized that Louis Vuitton canvas is virtually indestructible. It's the most durable pair of flip-flops we have. Now, they will wear out and stuff like that, but that canvas was designed for subway seats in France back in the day. They used to make these big trunks, and trunks back in the day used to have an arc or a round top. Louis Vuitton made them flat, and then he started setting them on the back of vehicles, is where the term trunk comes from, for the back of your vehicle. There used to be a drop-down plate.
Wow.
That in those old cars, the kind like with the big long hoods and all the...
Can we see it? I'm really like...
Yep.
Come on, Zach. Get it up there.
Like, I really want everybody to see this thing.
This
is ridiculous.
Gorgeous.
And we, again, I know you guys are here to watch our bourbon review, but, we support our local friends, and we wanted to bring AG on for a little collaborative effort here and show his product off.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Fancy.
Look at this. Look at this. Wow.
And listen, I just got to get out there. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're not talking about here. I mean, your Vibram soles, your partnership with Vibram, big deal.
Show them the tread, or show them the front of the flip-flop again. If you're watching the video, if you notice the straps cut across the flip-flop, cutting across your foot, making you stand on them. Nobody else in the world does that.
No, it's always you see it on the side.
It's on the sides. Yeah. And the reason they do it on the sides is because synthetic plastic materials don't stretch and they don't shape around your foot.
Man,
leather does.
You could get into a club. You could walk into any Vegas club with these on and they'd let you in.
Probably give you automatic VIP.
Probably.
And a bunch of chicks to go with it.
Heck yeah. And listen, can you tell the story? I've always thought one of the cool things that you do.
Okay. Bring it in, Zach.
Lightly touch the button.
Do it again.
Do it
again. It's not working.
There we go.
I love your story about the cord that goes in between the thong and where you get that, because that's just as ethical.
So we couldn't maintain the inventory levels for that.
Oh, okay.
So what he's referring to is, for a long time, and we'll still do it when we could get it, is we would buy fishing net that would be plucked out of the ocean, or normally, so we're going to refer to the Chinese because they're generally horrible people as far as the environment goes. And no Chinese people drink bourbon, so we don't have to worry about audience here. So
watch, our chat's gonna blow up. But anyways, keep going.
I'm just joking. We have some customers in China. I'm always teasing them and stuff. But so normally, when a big commercial fishing net is at the end of its life, it's better for them to cut it loose and drop it in the ocean. They have no reason to bring it back.
Sure.
So we partnered with a guy that was already doing this. He was paying fishermen to bring them back to the dock, and he would buy them from him. And in turn, we would buy those from him, and we'd use them as our thong on our flip-flops.
That's cool.
We would buy a bunch. Cool. We'd buy a bunch, and maybe 1/50th was usable as far as a product, but we felt good buying. The cause was good. We still buy it, but we use way too much of it now that we have to also use paracord. So most of ours will have paracord. We'll see some with the old school fishing line in between them. Mm-hmm. But usually when we buy it, we wind up just disposing of it in an ethical way.
Nice, Luke.
Because there's so much of it that's bad, tore up. There's barnacles aren't on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I want barnacles between my toes.
So AG, where can we get these at? Like, give us the scoop. What's your website?
So on our website, they're expensive. They're not for everybody. I mean,
Understood.
probably entry pair is like $300. Wow. And they go up to $600. And we got a couple pairs we're working on. They'll be about $2,000 next year.
Well, you're paying for quality though too.
Yeah.
So what's your website where we can send some of our viewers to check it out?
Shop Toehold. So TOEHOLP. Bourbon.
How you like that
bourbon?
.com.
Yeah. So Toehold. We have a background in jiu-jitsu, so Toehold is a martial arts move.
Cool.
And the company's name Toehold, but the website is shoptoehold.com.
Right on. There you go, friends. Shoptoehold.com for your amazing.
Since we're drinking, check us out on Instagram. Shoot us a DM or message anywhere. Tell me that you heard about us here, and we'll give you a special discount.
Okay.
Oh, look at that! So at Redbeard, you guys can these questions. You need to hit them up on Instagram.
What's up, Redbeard?
Yeah, hit up AG.
An OG.
Yeah,
he's
the
an
OG. So
Johnny.
And why don't we jump into our rating of Blue Note?
I'd like to. Thank you. Thank you for all that. That's awesome.
Thanks for listening.
And
showing off our product. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm going to tell you right now, Grace has like an old Gucci purse. We might need to talk about, turning that into a flip flop. So, no,
Gucci Toehold.
That'd be pretty cool. All right, back to Blue Note, friends. So as you know, we're on our new rating scale. Bing, bang, boom, fireworks.
So we have a lot more people on the show tonight than we had last week when we debuted the rating scale.
Yeah.
So can you remind us, Jimmy?
Yes, I'm going to tell you guys what we did. We loved. So first of all, we're still going to rate it off nose, taste, and value. Mm-hmm. Those are our three. That's the heart of the categories that we rate on. And as you know, what we used to do was up to 3 points for each of those categories. Half-point increments, 0 to 3. Which total of 9, and then we had that one blown away bonus point for a potential 10 out of 10 perfect score, blah, blah, blah. We are now going to conform to society standards and go to a 0 to 100 scale across the board. But we're still including our main criteria of nose, taste, and value. Oh, wow. What was that, Zach? Please, sir, may I have another?
No, that was the traditional Zach.
He did a
more. That's the
he just pounded on the table. Do you do that at a bar?
You're at a bar.
Do you do that at a bar, Zach? Do you do that at bars?
Absolutely. Tap.
I'm sure you get underpoured. No. Just saying.
So give that man a 1 ounce pour.
Give that man a 1 ounce pour.
This gets
all right.
Do it for a reason.
So now we're on our 0 to 100 scale.
Drinkable and drinkable and drinkable.
And we'll start down the row. We'll maybe talk a little bit about nose, taste, value, each of us, and then we're just going to give you our 0 to 100 score.
Yeah.
So I am going to actually defer to Zach on this one to start us off. What am I doing?
Come on, Zach, talk to us. Tell us about a little bit.
And tell us, because he hasn't really, Zach's really kind of been in the back seat in the show tonight. So Zach, tell us what you're experiencing with Blue Note. Jump right in.
Blue Note. So we're going to go through nose all the way and then taste.
Just talk about what stands out.
All three things, and then give us a score.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so Blue Note, when you smell it, it smells like it's like a honey marshmallow kind of a fluff, kind of a smell. To me, that's what I think. Nose is amazing. You don't really get much of an ethanol punch. I was expecting it from the 100 proof rating on it. Moving into which is the nose is amazing. I love it. Moving into the taste. The nose doesn't necessarily transfer into the taste 100%. I was expecting quite a bit sweeter, but I think the toasted barrel char may have had an effect on that. Gives it a little bit of a peppery, spicy kind of a taste.
Okay.
And but you still get vanilla and some honey in there.
So, I like how you brought up honey because I was getting a little bit of that too. So that's good to bring up. So really quick, we didn't talk about value before you guys judge it on the value. This comes in at $39.99.
$40.
If you can find this, so this is distroed mostly in the South. So our friends,
buy it.
If you find it, buy it. If you're Texas East and South, you can get a hold of this.
South of Texas is the ocean.
South and
South
East.
of Texas is the Gulf of Mexico.
Listen, if you're in Texas and East, you can find this.
Listening to you guys grade alcohol I feel like a chick listening to guys talk about sports. I was like, wow, that's so interesting. Oh my gosh.
We did this a couple of times. Yeah.
So anyways, I think it's Missouri down. So go down Mimel, Missouri down.
And Missouri East.
And then Missouri East. So
Go
Georgia,
Tennessee,
Florida.
Straight over
and down.
A little Missouri West,
Hey.
too, because you can get it in Colorado, right?
No.
Oh, you can't. Oh,
You
for some
can't.
reason I thought Colorado.
Actually, maybe you can.
No, you can't. I looked at the map.
Okay.
But you can get it in, it looks like Massachusetts.
And
Definitely
New York.
You can get it in New York.
So hey, BR Distilling, if you listen, let's work on some distro to the West Coast.
We know some people.
Because you have no idea. If you can kind of
We
see
like
behind me
Blue.
this insane collection that I had to barter and trade B-Tax for, which I won't get into right now. We need to chat. BR Distilling.
Yeah, I know some people here in Southern Nevada that would love to talk to you. We can broker a deal here.
Yeah.
So
come to
logistics
Nevada.
question is
Absolutely.
the reason it's not distributed nationwide.
Oh, we are not going to get into this on the show, but we will definitely talk to you about it off the show.
It's called the
we've been
3-tier system.
chastised openly that we're not allowed to discuss this politics on the show.
Oh,
so
my.
we will talk about this with
All
the
right.
camera closed.
I didn't know it was
Yeah.
going to be such a contentious.
Hey, so really
Very
quick,
political.
Very faux pas.
I have a
guess.
flip flops question in the chat here.
What do we got?
So one of our guys, I don't know, he's kind of challenging your brand, and he
for it.
says, "What are you guys talking about? You should only have to buy one pair of Huaraches, and they're $20 a pop. Never have to buy them again. They're a lifelong pair." I don't know what Huaraches are, so
And neither does the rest of us.
okay. Well,
Huarache.
Obadiah, I'm sorry,
Yes.
bud, but we
Never heard of
Huaraches.
Huarache.
We do love you. Thanks for coming back, Obadiah.
Yeah.
Glad to see you back.
Sounds
So-
like,
Yeah.
sounds
Where
like magic.
does Huarache hail from, I wonder?
I mean, is that down in like Mexico City? I just think of like little Mexico.
Huarache?
I don't know.
Maybe it's
Anyway.
Cuban.
Could be. Let us know.
Maybe it's
throw it in the
Cuban.
chat. Throw it in the chat.
Okay.
All right, so Zach.
All right,
Zach, score out of 100.
All right, so nose, awesome. Taste, very good.
Value, $39.99.
Value, super amazing. I am going to give this a 90.
Whoa!
I enjoy it.
Wow.
I would definitely buy it.
That's huge.
So you find this, if you see it on the
You're
liquor,
digging
see
it?
it on the
Zach's
the
digging
shelf
it,
at the
guys.
liquor store,
Zach's
grocery
digging
store, whatever it is, buy it.
90
I mean,
out of
come on,
100.
$40. That's a steal, and it's a great whiskey. I enjoy it.
Hold on. What did Obadiah says? My son brought over Space Dust with Jameson IPAs.
Delicious.
You'll believe you were drinking top shelf Irish whiskey. Also, you had some Space Dust,
Love it.
and then he was
Legion.
drinking some Jameson.
The
and
Legion.
and he thought it was top shelf Irish whiskey.
That's okay if you believe it. If you believe it, enjoy it.
Remember when Elysian...
Oh, he said they're from Mexico. They are Mexican sandals.
Huarache.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, probably made by children. You know, if I had child labor, I could probably get my prices down too.
Unethical.
Are they flip flops or are they sandals?
Oh yeah, they're sandals. He said they're
Sandals.
sandals.
Some of us like getting chicks, so we don't wear sandals.
Okay, fair. Shots fired. All right, what do you want to do here, Beach?
I think you should lead us through your score.
Guys, I'm super excited about Blue Note in
Because
general.
you're a big fan.
I have introduced it to these guys. I think I am spearheading the Southern Nevada initiative to bring Blue Note into the state.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Brad is a big fan of that.
Brad, if you're still watching, because I know we've stretched
Ken is
this
a big
out.
fan of that.
We have a lot of friends that are like on the
Vinny
Blue Note
is a big
bandwagon.
fan of this.
Blind tastes have shown that Blue Note is crushing it. So the Crossroads, though, here's the thing. I have something that these guys don't have. I've tasted what the other amazing ones. So not only do they have this, guys, but they then have a step up, which is a uncut, unfiltered, straight bourbon, barrel pick, 60 to 70%. I've seen, well, not 70, but I've seen like some 62, 64s. Then after that, I'm guessing that's like probably what, 4 to 6 year juice. Then they have a 9-year
Doesn't say. No
in a
age
tall boy
statement.
bottle. They have a 10-year in a tall boy bottle.
Where's that 17-year?
And they have a 17-year.
Yeah, I'm not impressed till we have that.
Does that
What is
EBV go
going
up
on?
and up and up with the years, or is it
No,
just
it's
gonna
all
go-
kind of steady. I think like
Okay.
50s.
I was gonna say once it gets higher.
And they have a really crazy story about a warehouse that was destroyed.
Oh, we've had this. Yeah, we had that.
So BR Distilling had a warehouse that was destroyed in a storm.
Tornado, to be more specific.
A tornado. These barrels, and you guys got to think about this. When a tornado blasts through a warehouse that has like 10,000 barrels, you're not cleaning that up overnight, right? Like, you don't get like 5 guys and clean it up. That's like, think of like 2 football fields of warehouse of shit all over the ground.
Sure.
Of broken warehouse. Anyway,
But heavenly saved barrels.
there were barrels that survived, and I'm sure there's a little commercial gimmickiness in there, but if you think about it, it's legit. Some of these barrels sat in the elements, exposed directly to the hot summer for a couple months before they were cleaned up. What did they do? They grabbed those barrels, because think about it, you're not going to just throw everything away. You're going to try to save something. They took these barrels, because that's their lifeline. That's what they make money with. They took these barrels, and most of those barrels in what they are bottling now that we're tasting. And it has these extreme elements, exposure to the extreme elements, where barrel Lamaze, we've all talked about that, barrel Lamaze. So those extreme changes in temperature, you have that juice going in and out of that barrel, back and forth, getting so much, tons of flavor, and you have some awesome stuff.
What kind of flavors do you think the tornado added?
But first,
Dude, I think the tornado added a lot of wind. It added
what
a
about
lot of
that score?
oxygen.
Little
What
wind
about that
love.
score?
88 out of 100.
wow.
For
You give it an
Crossroads,
88.
For Crossroads.
88 for Crossroads.
88 for Crossroads,
Okay.
where you go.
What does barrel pick mean?
Oh, it means barrel pick. Barrel
What
pick.
was the question? I
The
missed
question
that,
was,
sorry.
what does barrel pick mean? So it means that it is a single barrel, and that it's been picked for bottling exclusively from that barrel.
So in most examples of we'll call them a small batch, run-of-the-mill bourbons and whiskeys, they're blends. So what a blend is that a master distiller walks around a warehouse. I'm sure he struts around like this. And he's like, get me a barrel here, give me these like 20 barrels, and they put it into a batch.
And like a scientist, they start putting pieces of those
They
barrels.
put
in
like
graduated cylinder.
3 barrels of this with 2 barrels of that and 6 barrels of that and all these different equations, and then the master distiller probably gets a big old spoon or ladle, and he's like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to taste like.
Are those barrels consist of different ages?
Different ages, different locations in the warehouse. They're exposed to different temperatures,
Yep.
different years
Altitude
old, different
within
barrel
the
chars,
warehouse, yeah.
altitude, so many influences.
You know, if you're really interested in this, and for those of you that are, I'm going to tell you, go to the Instagram page for Smoke Wagon Bourbon.
yes.
They're right here in Las Vegas.
sourcing from MGP, Midwestern Grain Products. Amazing.
And Aaron, who is the master distiller at Smoke Wagon.
You're awesome, Aaron.
You are awesome, and I know he watches our show, so thank you.
Yes.
He does a great example where he actually videotapes this on Instagram, and he will show you.
A little
Aaron
bit
is
of
like,
blending process.
he is a cowboy rock star,
Yep.
super cool dude. But when he goes into the blending process, that guy might as well be a hardcore scientist. He basically
graduated
puts on,
cylinders and beakers.
and then he's
and
literally like 2 milliliters of this barrel and 5 milliliters of this barrel, and we're gonna go ahead and do that, and the ratios equal this.
let it sit overnight.
And then
yeah.
he takes a sip and goes, "Yep, that's exactly what I want. This is the flavor profile I'm looking for." He
That's
will
it.
describe it to you, and he goes, Cool. So the next batch is going to look like this, and this is what it tastes like, and that's what it is. Go buy it on the shelf, and it's very scientific.
So
Very scientific.
prior to that, do they go around and grade each barrel and what its characteristics are?
Sometimes.
So they know how to pick and choose and blend or to...
Yeah, they've got to, but it's kind of a secret process. I mean, they don't want to... Like, they've been what each section of the rick house or the barrel warehouse does.
yield.
And it's
Really,
like,
pardon
this.
a second. It's shoptoehold.com. It's in our description.
We'll put it in the comments, too.
And we'll put it in the comments.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. AG, you want to give us your score? It's out of 100. Think about like school scoring.
And let us know, like, give us some
Grading.
impressions. What,
Well,
like,
tell us what you're
this is-
smelling.
Yeah, what are you
This
tasting?
is the best
Do you
I've
like
ever
it?
tasted, so... I mean,
You said you're not traditionally
it has
awesome.
to be 100.
a
It's the best I've ever
drinker.
had.
You could do whatever you want.
Let me
Yeah.
see. So,
But tell me what you smell. Tell me what you taste.
So if I get a hovered smell, I probably don't have the vocabulary, but a little caramelly.
Yeah.
But when I get closer, I get the vapor off it,
Yes.
and I get like an alcohol vapor.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
interesting. 'cause
That,
I
we
don't
call
get
that
from
little
the alcohol.
ethanol bite.
Ethanol, is that what that is?
That-
That's
yeah.
that's the alcohol with the alcohol.
Yeah. And then looks wise, definitely like dehydrated pee.
That's real dehydrated.
Do you want to just keep drinking it? Are you digging it? Like, do you think you could just sit there and keep sipping on it?
Yeah, for sure get wasted off this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Good.
exactly what our
Yeah.
fans want to
Any
hear.
any
But a
specific flavors?
very that I tasted some cinnamon, but you guys corrected that as being what?
I said, I think that you're getting
Way
some.
better.
Yeah, a little,
Oaky, yeah.
woodsy,
Woody.
a little woody flavor
Yeah.
profile.
Charred wood, you
It's
get a little
so
bit of
new.
sweetness.
It's so new to me that it's hard to categorize each flavor. It's really good.
You'll learn that over time.
3-sip rule was important.
Very.
And you kind of drink into it. The more you drink of it, the more you want to drink it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would happen next week if I drank another whiskey and another whiskey. Pretty soon that's just what I start to crave.
Well, you don't know, but you're going to stick around for a very special taping immediately following this. we have a St. Patrick's Day show to film.
Perfect.
It's not live, but
Yeah.
we'll be filming it.
Friends, we shoot multiple
give us a
shows.
grade.
TV magic. 0 out of 100. What would you give it?
With having no reference, I would have to say this is going to be in the 90s.
Sure,
Very nice.
Very good.
Okay.
I agree with that.
A lot of flavor. Taste refined. Taste clean. Taste elegant and expensive. Even though I guess it's not. Tastes like it.
Well, just because the price point
We gotta
isn't
wrap
expensive.
this. We gotta wrap this up soon. We're starting to have some technical difficulties because the show's running so long. We're at 54 minutes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to give you my quick scores, and then I think we're going to sign off.
Please do, yeah.
Blue Note.
Blue Note.
I think it's got a great nose, a good ethanol background,
Yep.
something that stands up strong, a good caramel profile, in the flavors, and great vanilla. The flavors here, the what I'm getting on the palate, a creamy, sweet peanut. So even though this is a bourbon, I am getting the typical peanut of a Tennessee whiskey. So I think this is good. We're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
We're doing okay. So I do get that sweetness of the peanut there, but it's not super peanutty, but it's got a nice nutty character.
Okay.
No fruitiness, not a ton of baking spices, super approachable for being $50. Come on, that's a super value.
What are you gonna get that taste out of this?
out of